Good evening and happy Friday, everyone. Severe Weather Team 9 meteorologist Nathan Judd joining you for this edition of Nate at 8. Welcome to Friday. Hope you had a wonderful week, and hopefully you have some good plans coming up here for this Easter weekend. Overall, the weather not too bad. We are going to be tracking some more rain returning tomorrow, but even then, I don't think tomorrow's a washout by any means. And we do look to dry back up going into Easter Sunday. So that's a bit of what we're going to be talking about on this edition of Nate at 8 coming up. Not as warm this weekend. Now, not as warm does not equate to chilly temperatures. It is certainly not chilly this weekend, but are we back in the 80s? No, we're not going to be quite that warm, but still 70s, 60s. Those are our highs over the next couple of days. So still more seasonable to above normal, just not record warmth here over the next couple of days. Rain will be returning tomorrow before it does likely taper off. That'll give way to a pleasant Easter Sunday. Again, not overall, not too bad of a weekend coming our way. And our current temperatures right now across the area are residing into the 70s to 80s, coming off of those high temperatures today that were near the mid 80s, 85 degrees at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport. That is right on par with the record high of today of 85 that was set in 2013. So tying the record at Wheeling, Ohio County Airport, coming up short elsewhere in the tri-state area, but certainly close to it. It was a very warm day for this time of the year, and our first 80-degree plus day so far this month. And it took a while to get it. We finally got it. And here's the thing. I think we could sneak in at least one more here before we wrap up the month. That this is a warm pattern that we're likely in to wrap up the month of April. So we've had one. It took us 18 days to get it. And I think we could sneak in at least one more here looking into the end of the month. You may have noticed, of course, today as well, those wind speeds, right? These wind gusts had returned. It was nice to have a break from that breeze yesterday, but that breeze quickly returned today. Wind gust upwards of 30 plus miles per hour, still a 36 mile per hour wind gust at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport. Renee's joining us this evening saying good evening. Great weather today. Have a blessed Easter. Thank you so much for tuning in, Renee. It wasn't it? Gorgeous day. Those wind gusts, unfortunately, still present, getting blown around a bit. That's why I say it was nice to have a break from those wind speeds yesterday, but those winds picking back up. The good news is, while it's still breezy likely this weekend, I don't think to the extent of what we had for today. So I think those winds, yes, breezy, but I don't think they're going to be as high as what we had for today. So while we still maintain a breeze, it's not quite as windy, I don't think, for Saturday. Winds look lighter for Easter on Sunday, and then by Monday, that's when we're going back to a breezy conditions similar to what we're going to have likely for Saturday. I don't think these wind speeds are as great Saturday to Monday as what we had for today, but nonetheless, still a bit of a breeze present. And yes, I hope you have a blessed Easter as well, Renee. I meant to say that. I hope you have one as well. Thanks so much for tuning in this evening, Renee. Audrey joining us as well. Give me back my cold weather, please. No cold weather here near term, Audrey. We are tracking some warmer temperatures. And in fact, tomorrow is going to be very warm. And, you know, we talked about record temperatures for this afternoon, but for tomorrow morning with these lows around the mid 60s, we could be dealing with record warmth for tomorrow morning as well. The warmest low on record tomorrow for the Wheeling area is 66 degrees. Now, we're likely getting a little cooler than that, but we are not far from it. So near record warmth again tomorrow morning. Record high tomorrow is 90. We're nowhere near that. But for tomorrow morning, yes, we can have some near record warmth again. So yeah, no cold weather returning here near term, Audrey. I bring bad news in terms of that. I don't foresee any chilly days looking ahead here to wrap up the month. We're dealing, maybe a cool day in the mix, but nothing real chilly. I can't foresee temperatures dipping back in the 40s for a high, maybe just in the 50s, but I think we're seeing a lot of 60s and 70s here, maybe even some 80s is what we're going to see here to wrap up the month with a warmer pattern in place. Lola joining us. Good evening. Beautiful day. Have a wonderful Easter. You as well, Lola. Thanks so much for tuning in on this Friday evening. How many more frost, Renee is asking? I don't foresee many here for the rest of this month. Again, we still can sneak one in early May. It's best to hold off until we get to around Mother's Day. to plant. So we still can sneak in a cold morning early May. The pattern is warm here near term. Maybe we can flip back to a little colder temperatures at the beginning of May. So still hold off. While the end of April is looking warm, we still can't rule out at least one more cold morning. We're going to be dealing with the freeze, if not frost. And watch for that still potential early May before temperatures usually start to warm up where we don't have to worry about that as much later on into May. Austin joining us this evening. He's joining us saying hello. Hello there, Austin. Saying, hope your day was pleasant. It was great. How was yours? I was wondering if there's been a tornado report on Easter Sunday in the past. I'm sure there has been, Austin. I'm sure there has been, at least in the tri-state area as a whole. I'm sure there has been. That would be interesting to dig up. I'm going to see if I can dig that up. That would be interesting to know. It would take a while to dig that up, just considering how Easter changes days every single year. It's something, unfortunately, that's not easy to find, but it would be interesting to know. It takes some time to do that digging, but I'm sure we've had it before, and it would be interesting to know, Austin. Good question there. If we've had a tornado reported on Easter Sunday in the past. Again, I'm sure we have, but it would be interesting to see how many. Evening, Joe. Thanks for tuning in. Good evening. Good evening to you as well. So let's get back on track. We were talking about those wind gusts again, those wind speeds. They're still a bit breezy Saturday and Monday winds, then not too bad going into Easter Sunday before the second half of the weekend. And temperatures again start to cool down. So if you're just tuning in, we were talking about how temperatures are more 70s going into Saturday, then likely 60s Easter Sunday. So a little bit of a cool down for the weekend. Again, still a bit of a breeze Saturday. We're going to be dealing with some rain Saturday and then likely drying back up for Easter Sunday. Clouds of radar right now. We're not tracking a whole lot of precipitation moving into the area. We're just dealing with more cloud cover for this evening. And in fact, the rain likely going to hold off more so late tonight. The rain that we're going to be watching is still back towards, portions of there, Indiana, Illinois. That light precipitation moving the central into east central Ohio, likely not much, if any, of that actually makes its way into our area. The precipitation that we're really watching is still back into Illinois. So it's still going to take some time yet before we see this move into the area. And again, it's likely more in line with early tomorrow morning before we start to see some showers break out across the area. And then you'll notice that it's not a washout tomorrow, right? There's still some dry times, I think, to be had for tomorrow. It's not a complete washout. Again, temperature's still in the 70s, so it's still on the warm side tomorrow. No 80s, but this is not a real cool day, I would say, for Saturday. It's still on the warmer side with those temperatures in the 70s. A lot of cloud cover, maybe sneaking in a little bit of sunshine, but a lot of cloud cover going throughout the day. And as you can see, this precipitation, again, it's not a washout, but we're dealing with several rounds of rain going throughout the day, continuing into Saturday night. Then by early Sunday morning, leading up to daybreak, notice that it tapers off. So we do likely dry back up in time for Easter Sunday. I think we're spotting a little bit more sunshine Sunday with respect to Saturday. Our temperatures make it in the 60s. We've likely failed to reach 70s, but we're still well in the 60s into Sunday afternoon. It's then Sunday night into Monday morning. There's that following round of some showers, maybe a thunderstorm in the mix as well. That'll then continue again, not a washout, but just several rounds, just like what we're going to see Saturday again going into Monday. So we're dealing with, while it's not widespread or a steady rain, we're still dealing with those scattered showers and thunderstorms. Saturday, we can't see another thunderstorm in the mix. Monday as well. It's Sunday, again, likely dry for Easter Sunday. By Tuesday and Wednesday, then likely going to be dry as well. And I will say that's a nice stretch of weather coming up. Next Tuesday and Wednesday looks really nice. That I think we can spot, doesn't look as warm as today, but still temperatures 60s, 70s, maybe getting back closer to 80 Wednesday. I think there is that potential. But Tuesday and Wednesday, I think we spot a lot of sun. It's looking nice and not real cool. It's on the warmer side. I think it's a nice couple of days going into the middle of next week. And again, it's still a pleasant Easter Sunday as well. But I think by next Tuesday and Wednesday, that's when we're going to spot a lot of sunshine. So Shelly saying, loving the sun. Yeah, it was nice today, wasn't it? And yeah, coming up into next Tuesday and Wednesday, Shelly, that's the next round of a lot of sunshine. It's going to be nice. Looking forward to that in the middle of next week. And Joe saying any severe storms with these. So yeah, we're going to touch on that right now. So now we're going to jump into, here why we're dealing with some scattered showers and thunderstorms Saturday. And again, Monday, what are the potential for impacts, right? And that's what we're going to dive into right now. And thankfully, the potential for both of these with the impacts, it's not high. I think it's a low. And I think ultimately the impacts look low with this as well from Saturday as well as going into Monday. We're going to start with the potential for excessive rainfall or flooding. And you'll see that risk is even centered further west of our area tomorrow. Those locations further west towards Indiana, portions there of Illinois, Western Ohio, that's where we're likely dealing with a higher flooding concern through tomorrow. Then, of course, the risk falls off as we're likely dry for Sunday. But even on Monday, the risk does not look present. And while, yes, we're going to likely see some higher amounts on a local scale with those thunderstorms in the mix, the amounts can vary quite a bit between two locations. And even the model picking up on this, it's going to be hard to pinpoint a precise location, but it's picking up on the fact where a lot of us are only going to be dealing with about a quarter, maybe up to a half inch, while those that do see some thunderstorms could see rainfall amounts exceed an inch and maybe even get closer to 2 inches. But even when we're seeing some of those higher amounts, keep in mind this is over 2 days for Saturday as well as Monday, that even while we're seeing, some higher amounts, even those higher amounts for locations that pick up some storms, the amounts look to stay low enough over the period of 2 days where flooding concerns look low. So flooding concerns look low, severe weather concerns, they look low as well. But unfortunately, we can't rule out, at least for Saturday, that potential for a strong to severe thunderstorm. We're under that marginal risk, meaning the threat does look to stay more isolated, but there is potential. It's going to be for tomorrow, mainly in the afternoon, early evening. So watch, from the early afternoon, early evening hours before the sun sets. This is when we have that potential. Does not look like a tornado threat tomorrow. The threat would be more of a large hail, damaging wind. That's what we have the potential for if any thunderstorm does become severe. So something certainly to keep in mind tomorrow, keep mindful of. We're going to keep a close eye on those storms, of course, early tomorrow afternoon, moving into the area, but certainly doesn't look like we're dealing with a widespread risk or concern, but there is that potential nonetheless for at least a few strong to severe thunderstorms. And again, the timing of that is more into the early afternoon to early evening hours tomorrow. And that threat will likely start to subside closer to sunset. So even before sunsets, we can see that severe risk start to subside for your Saturday. And again, things are quiet, pleasant for Easter Sunday, likely drying back up. Mix of sun and clouds, temperatures upper 60s, and cooler with respect to the 80s today, but still a nice weekend ahead in terms of those temperatures where we're dealing with more seasonable to above normal temperatures. Again, we're dealing with those showers on and off that are more scattered in nature on Saturday. Some thunderstorms in the mix, not a washout, but just be prepared to dodge several rounds of rain going throughout the day on Saturday before we'll dry back up Sunday. Coverage will then pick back up. Again, same story, several rounds of rain likely again on Monday. The potential for a thunderstorm is in the mix there. Again, for both of these periods, does not look like a high-impact event coming our way Saturday or Monday. The flooding risk looks low. If we're dealing with a severe weather potential, again, Saturday, possibly into the early afternoon, early evening, maybe a few strong to severe thunderstorms in the area. Damaging winds, large hail would be the primary concern. Then my next Tuesday and Wednesday, there's those days I was discussing earlier that look nice. Well, lots of sunshine next Tuesday and Wednesday. Looking forward to those couple of days. Temperatures still near 70 Tuesday and then closer to 80 on Wednesday. So yeah, be prepared. If you're wondering about maybe getting some yard work done with these warmer temperatures. And again, maybe not planning on doing it on Easter Sunday, but, Saturday less than ideal, Monday less than ideal. But if you're available to do it and can hold off till next Tuesday and Wednesday, are going to be, I think, great days for some yard work with a lot of sunshine. Shower chance then returns going into next Thursday and Friday. I think a better odds then going into the following weekend for more showers, but may spot as some showers leading up to next weekend. But the next best chance after Monday does look to hold off going into the following weekend. So thank you so much for tuning in on this Friday evening for this edition of Nate at 8. Again, I hope you have a wonderful Easter weekend. Not too bad. Again, be prepared to dodge some rounds of rain tomorrow, the potential for some strong to severe thunderstorms early tomorrow afternoon into early evening. So even leading up around noon and then continuing up to 5, 6 o'clock, going into the early evening hours. That's the time window to watch for the potential for some strong and severe thunderstorms. Again, the risk for tornadoes looks to remain remain at bay. It's going to be more of a large hail damaging wind would be the concern with any strong to severe thunderstorms. Outside of that, flooding risk looks low. A lot of us stay within about a quarter to half of an inch. And some of us, can exceed 1, maybe 2 inches of rain. It just depends on, these thunderstorms can affect the same locations for not only Saturday, but into Monday as well. We can see some locally higher amounts, but even there, thankfully, the amounts look to stay low enough to keep flooding concerns low as well. Not only Saturday, but going into Monday as well. And yes, Easter Sunday, thankfully, looking dry, looking pleasant for the second half of this weekend. Thanks so much for tuning in for this edition of Nate at 8. Stay tuned for that next edition of Nate at 8 coming up. That would be on Monday. So stay tuned Monday evening. We'll give the latest on the showers. We'll be watching likely taper off there going into Monday night, and I'll have the latest on a couple really nice days going into the middle of next week. Up until then, of course, you can always stay tuned with meteorologist Amanda Very through the weekend for the latest on where we stand with any severe thunderstorms into the early afternoon hours tomorrow. And, of course, the latest on that next round of some rain that would be arriving into Monday. So make sure to stay tuned with Amanda Very through the weekend. And up until then, I'll see you next time on that next edition of 8 at 8, Monday evening around 8 o'clock. And, of course, you can catch me coming up here even tonight, News 9 at 10 on Fox 9, News 9 tonight at 11 as well. Have a great weekend and a wonderful Easter.